Welcome. So in this course, I'll be offering you a series of short, brief lectures. These are here just to kind of reinforce your reading, reinforce some of the terms, and answer some of the questions that the student may have as they go along. Certainly, they don't answer all the questions. You have an instructor if you have any particular question that stands out for you in particular, and please don't hesitate to reach out to them. But I do like to kind of review some of the important terms and really highlight those. I know some people just do better with videos, do better with listening and hearing, and that's how they learn. So we wanted to give you a couple of other tools available to you. So different courses will have different amounts of clips, and you just want to follow them if you can. So hopefully you find them helpful and help you to focusing on the courses. So what I want to start off in this particular clip is maybe a review for some of you, hopefully, is we talk about what is interdisciplinarity. What is interdisciplinary studies? I get that all the time. What is that? What is interdisciplinary studies? I've never even heard of interdisciplinary studies, which is really interesting because you guys are like on that cutting edge of what everybody's going to want to be in the near future. It's definitely something that's increasing in a great deal of popularity, and as the times change, as our environment changes, as we become more technology based, as we become more fluid with information in a fluid information center, the need for interdisciplinary studies is stronger than it's ever been. So what is it? For those of you who've already taken IDS 1000, they basically define it as an interaction between two or more disciplines, minimizing and obscuring or rejecting altogether the role of integration. What? Right? Like you come at it and go, what does that mean? Don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you in just a second. So we find another one. So we go to Hubbub research, and it says interdisciplinary research is made up as research in terms of, and this is the research-oriented piece, of course, is a mode of research in terms of individuals that integrate information, data, techniques, tools, perspectives, concepts, or other themes from two or more disciplines or bodies of specialized knowledge to an audience of fundamental understanding to solve problems whose solutions are beyond the scope of a single discipline or one area of research practice. So what you heard here in two different definitions is basically it's the combination of two or more disciplines, which you've already learned about a discipline being a specific set of knowledges. They're going to be combined and used to solve a problem or to address something or to analyze something. We're not always solving problems when we're interdisciplinary thinking, although that's often what you'll see focused on, is because sometimes if it's a simple solution, oftentimes one discipline can solve that problem. And so what we're really looking at is a complex situation where we want to look at it from different angles, because so many situations in this world simply can't be solved by one entity. So if we look at a complex issue like, let's say, obesity. If we're looking at a situation like obesity, we want to look at it from a medical standpoint and what's going on with that person. We want to look at that from a psychological standpoint and how any habits they may have acquired that are affecting them in their eating or exercise routines and things like that. We also want to look at it from a sociological standpoint, meaning what are their family systems or their group or their identity, and how is that work if the whole culture or the whole group is eats certain foods or does certain things, that could have an influence on it. So when we look at it just through one eye, we may not be getting the full picture of what we really need to look at, and that's just one. So many problems in the world really can't be solved from one spot. We have to look at all of the things that are combined in that. So if we look at things that are community problems, not individual problems, such as teen crime and an increase in teen crime, well, we're going to need to look psychologically at the teens, sociologically at the families, maybe through social work eyes, looking at the systems of care and what's available to them, perhaps through law enforcement's eyes, maybe through education's eyes. all of these players are very important, have major contributions as to what they see and the angles that they are involved in. So if we want to solve a problem as complex as teen crime, we're going to need politics involved with regards to funding for community activities or funding for care for children. So there's so many things that are involved. We can't just send one guy to do it. And the difference between interdisciplinary studies and some of the other areas is if we send one discipline, we only get a partial answer. And what we don't want to do is send one person who maybe researches it from another angle, which is okay. But in interdisciplinary studies, it's the responsibility of all of those parties. So they're all taking on that task together. Together, we're going to sit down and form a committee or a group that is going to solve or look at or review this particular problem. We're all invested. In many cases, you're going to see if there's funding involved in things like that research, it's shared monies. So it's not monies to one department or one discipline to study something and maybe call on the others. It's shared. It's shared monies, it's shared responsibility, it's shared ego, it's shared everything in trying to look at the problem from the different perspectives. And what we realize is that those that are trained in a perspective or in a discipline are usually very well trained. They have a lot of great information, but that's the scope of what they study. So they look at problems that way, they see problems that way, the proverbial, if all you have is a hammer, everything is in there. How does that saying go? But they're going to use the hammer. That's the tool that they have to solve that problem, because that's the tool that they have. But somebody else may have a different tool that says, well, there's a different way we can look at this problem. What if we looked at it from this angle, or we looked at it from that angle? And so there's nothing wrong with disciplines. We want people that are in disciplines. We want people that study it and know it really well and know it inside and out. And there are definitely times when a separate discipline may not be warranted or even wanted. We don't want a generalist doing heart surgery. I want somebody who's really good in that discipline if I need heart surgery. I need a really good heart surgeon. That's what I want. I don't want somebody who does heart surgery and sometimes plumbing. I mean, they could, but I want somebody who's really, really skilled in what they do. But I also want that really skilled surgeon to be able to come to the table when there is a complex problem and I need to know about how that interacts with some other health care issues that I might be having. And so we have to have somebody that's there for diabetes, or somebody who's there for whatever other condition, and that they're all sharing information so that they can say, because if I fix one problem and it causes another, then that's a problem, and that specialist only knows what they know. So you need people to come together to really look at it in a interdisciplinary way, that everybody's sharing information and everybody's responsible for the outcome. So this can be applied to social problems. It's applied a lot, often in health, which you saw me use that as an example. Definitely in social problems and community problems. It can be applied to world issues, and it can be applied to our lives in many ways. Now, I don't expect you to leave this course with the ability to solve the world's problems. Wouldn't that be great? Right? Probably not going to be able to do that. But you will come out of this course with a better understanding of what interdisciplinary thinking is, a better understanding of how it can be used, hopefully with a desire to use it when you see complex problems, and a better understanding and a more openness to seeing problems from different directions, and the ability to compose and decompose problems so that you can see the pieces in the parts of it. If we can expand your thinking, if we can help you to be open to other areas of thinking, then we've done a lot in this course. I think you're going to like the course. It really gives us a great opportunity to practice these skills, to see what it's out there and how we can see things from different angles. And I just ask that you come into it with a great attitude and an open mind, and I know you're going to have a good time. So I look forward to seeing you in some later videos and looking at your assignments.